What is going on, everybody? And welcome to season 3, the premiere episode of Bayou Buzz. I'm State Director Alex Armand. I've got Tyler Leary and Davis Johnson with me. Uh, Boys, what is going on?
Trying to stay warm right now.
Yeah, speaking of Davis, I know you're trying to stay warm, being up north.
Yeah, a lot of sleet and ice up here right now, but ready for the season start next week. Should have some warmer weather coming in, so perfect timing so far is what it looks like.
Perfect timing indeed. And we were talking before we jumped on. Looks like we're going to get some warmer weather for opening week. Thank God, because I know everybody across the state's probably over this cold weather. I can't believe it's. I mean, it's just crazy to think that like another, I guess, season is here. It feels like it comes faster and faster every year. um, okay, so before we get into talking about the high school season, there's a couple of events that we put on the website recently that we wanted to talk about and go over. Our top prospect games in the summer have been a really good event for us the past 4 or 5 years for sure. In the past, we've had all classes. So, going to be sophomores, juniors, and seniors. This year, we're doing it a little different. We're splitting it up. We're going to have the 27s together for one top prospect game, the upper class, and then the 28s and the 29s for the underclass. So I'll throw this up here. Again, you can find it on our website. We haven't really marketed it or put anything out yet. It's going to be invite only, but Tuesday, June 16th, we're going to be at the University of New Orleans. That's for the 2027s. Again, invite only for our upper class top prospect games. And then the following Tuesday, June 23rd, we'll be back at UL Lafayette for the underclass with the 28 and 29s. And just so everybody knows, I think we said it last year, these top prospect games are super important for picking our future games, senior future games, and then super sophomore games, which will be for the 29s this year. And I think I was looking back, I think from our top prospect games last year, we had like 12, I think it was 12 future gamers and 8 or 9 senior future gamers, right? So like y'all know, like it's our best event of the summer, and it got to the point where we needed to break it up, I think,
Yeah, I would say too. I think the best part of us being able to break it up is like we get more time with the kids, just with the interaction from the
Yep.
The skills events of the 60s and the defense and the hitting and everything, and then being able to watch them play games. It's a lot of players. It's a long day, but it is fun. It is worth it at the end of everything. And it also it gives the kids, besides them playing their summer ball and everything, it just gives them another earmark of something to kind of work towards and whatnot. Not just to be invited to the event, but also potentially the super sophomores, the future games, the senior future games, and all that it entails. But I think it's going to be better long term for us, especially because throughout the next couple episodes we'll get into it at some point. But I think it also just helps on the recruiting part, with being able to kind of understand where you fit and everything down the road. With just how the whole landscape has changed.
Yeah, for sure. And look, with the top prospect games, like there's obviously only so many spots for like future games, senior future games, super sophomore games. But like y'all know, the top prospect games, that's as far as in Louisiana, that's our like most heavily recruited events because they're towards the end of June. There's the last 2 or 3 years, there's for sure over a dozen colleges there from like Louisiana, Mississippi. I mean, from this region. So,
like, couple from Texas usually.
Yeah, a couple from Texas usually. Like, it's a good opportunity regardless if you get invited to it. So again, look, it's on our website. If you see it and you think you want to come, like you can go ahead and start requesting an invite. I haven't even started to send out invites yet because I wanted to get through like the first couple weeks of high school season. I don't want to take away from that. So I, probably won't start actively putting it out there until like the 1st of March. But I did want everybody to know that we're actually going to have 2 of them this year, so we're going to split it up. Okay, enough about that. Let's get into the high school season. This is going to be an interesting year. So we've over the last couple 2, 3, 4 weeks, we started to release the Power 25. We've gotten through all the way where all 25 teams are released. I'll throw this graphic up here real quick for everybody. So, we've got the defending state champs, the Sam Houston Broncos. Number 1, district rival Barb right behind them at 2. Turlings 3, Catholic 4, North Shore 5, STM 6, Brother Martin 7, West Monroe 8, John Curtis 9, Benton 10. That's our top 10 to start off the year. So let's see. I don't even know where we should start with this. Sam Houston, the defending state champs. Leary, you saw him recently, right? I saw him like a month or so ago. Chad and them, like, they're going to be good again. They did lose some key pieces like Connor Walker and Cole Flanagan. They're going to be young, but they're going to be talented. I'm sure they'll take their lumps and bruises early, maybe a little bit, right? But I'm sure they'll be there in the end. So, anyways, look, I'll start. Davis, you go first. I don't even know where we start with this Power 25. How about this? Just give me your take on, I guess, kind of where you see some of these teams to start this spring right now and who you're really interested in seeing.
Yeah, to start out, I'm interested in seeing Sam Houston, like y'all were just talking about, the defending state champs. Yeah, a lot of turnover from last year. Going to have a lot of young guys mixed in there, but it's starting to look like A-Bear is reloading instead of rebuilding. So they should be a top tier team, and we'll see how it works out. But they got a lot of talent on that team, all different classifications.
Yeah, for sure. Leary, I'll ask you this question because this is how I feel. So I feel like the top 14, Sam Houston, Barb, Turlings, and Catholic. This is no offense to anybody else out there, but I feel like those 4 teams are like, they're probably the best 4 teams, regardless of what order you put them in, right? At least that's how I feel.
I would say it goes to just the consistency of the programs and the guys who are running the ship for all 4 of the programs. But I also think, they have talented players and so on. But I think it really goes to just the physicality that you see more than anything with those programs from top to bottom, and not just the guys on varsity, but like the JV, the freshman team. Like some of these kids that are at these schools, you're just like, where do you come from? Because what are you eating? But I think a lot of that, just being around some of the players, being around the coaches and seeing their program and everything, it just goes to their strength and conditioning programming. But it goes to after they finish weightlifting, they got nutrition, they got shakes and stuff. So I think we're just seeing those are the 4 pillar programs in this state that is kind of setting the tone for whether it's other programs to kind of follow and whatnot, or for the kids that they know all these kids at all these schools through the summer circuit, playing as little kids, playing against each other, that they're trying to body wise keep up to them and so on and so forth. But I think to kind of summarize it, those 4 schools, you got to give them credit for the guys who are running the ship, because they're Sam Houston for the next couple of years is gonna write their own path. Barb has a history of state championships, national titles. Catholic just got their first national title, went back to back for the first time, and I mean Turlings, they've just had outliers of athletes the past couple of years. So again, I think somebody has to have a target, and those four have it right now in their respective division that they play.
What's crazy, look, we'll get into it with our player of the year discussion. What's crazy is Turlings is going for the three-peat, and their senior lefty Evan Vincent is going for his third straight most outstanding player award of the state tournament, which is insane. So, okay, I'll switch to this for the Power 25 because this always happens every year, right? We talk about these top 4 teams. That's great. Teams in the top 10. It's great. Teams outside of the top 10, right? 11 through 25. U-High, Sterlington, Mandeville, Jesuit, Bruley, Dutch, all these teams, okay? Here's my question. I'll start first. Is who outside of the top 10, so 11 through 25, who outside of this top 10 finishes inside of the top 10 at the end of the year? Okay. I'll start looking at that list, and I just completely made up that question, so I'm catching myself a little off guard. But I'm gonna go with U-High, I think. Okay, I'm gonna go with U-High because they've got Grant Sundstrom back, they've got Brody Mayu back. Right, Nick Zarang is an up-and-coming senior left-hander who pitched for him last year, but could be in for a big year this year. Grant Vollmer, the sophomore, they won the state title 2 years ago. They played for it last year, got to Game 3, lost to a good Catholic New Iberia team. I could totally see U-High finishing the year inside of the top 10. That's mine. Davis. I have a feeling I know who you're going to pick, but I'm not going to say it. Team outside of the top 10 that finishes in the top 10 at the end of the year.
I'm going to go with the Sterlington Panthers. They're going
Shocker!
But look, they got two of some of the top best players in the state, Miller Sheets and Devin Downs returning. That team's going to go as they go, and I've no worries that they're going to perform this year. They're also returning Landon Johnston, one of their top starters on the mound, as well as Downs, and only having to replace 3 returning starters. They're returning their catcher behind the plate, Connor Justice, been starting there for years. So they have a good solid senior class, and with some younger guys mixed in there, but that team is going to go as Sheets and Downs go, and but they're going to perform as they always do.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Leary, who you got?
You stole mine first with but the first name it was either going to be U-High, and then my other one that came to mind is I really like the Mandeville this year.
All right,
the Skippers have a lot of pieces and depth that have experience, but also have inexperience. But I also think they have a lot of really good players with skills and tools that project at the next level. But I also think they're so young and talented that they just need experience and to get some stripes under their belt. I mean, everyone's going to talk about Grayson Parker, obviously, on the mound, Ole Miss commit. But you also have Sam Marsh, and then you have a lot of 2028s that are going to be pieces somewhere, somewhere, whether it's on the mound, in the lineup, whatever the case is. I think the Skippers, for me, are going to be somebody once the playoffs and the brackets and everything get set up. It's going to be very interesting because I could see them potentially getting on a Sam Houston type of run that we saw this past year. And really it starts because of Grayson Parker and Sam Marsh on the mound. And then you go to game 3. I mean, they're going to be comfortable with their 28s, and they have a couple other 27s that maybe might not be known as much, but when you watch them and you've seen them throughout the summer and past years, you know who they are. It's just these kids are waiting for their chance. And I think it goes to the coaching staff too. That's really well-rounded over there at Mandeville.
Yeah, look, that's a good pick. They made the quarterfinals 2 years ago. You're right, Parker and Mars. And look, when we all three saw the jump that Mars made over the fall, right? Like senior games, and then state games, and then he ends up committing to Southeastern like right after the state games or whatever. Yeah, he definitely made a jump. So him and Parker at the top, plus like you said, some of those 28s and even 27s. They'll be a team to watch out of the North Shore. Look, it'll be interesting to see how it all ends up shaking out. I think there's definitely a little some unknowns in some of these divisions, but it'll all start to become clear after a few weeks of the season. So Power 25 went over that. Let's move on to so Player of the Year, right? We came out with an article, I think last week, on Player of the Year watch list. I think we named like 12 names. Just wanted to go over some of those names on this episode. So Player of the Year last year was Andrew Klopinski, who is now a freshman at LSU Eunice, is doing really good. Went 5 for 12 in their opening 3-game series. He's starting at catcher for LSUE, hitting in the 3-hole. Year before that, it was William Schmidt. And let's see, 2023, the year before that, Donovan LaSalle. So Barb guy, and then Catholics held the title the last 2 years. So Player of the Year, we were talking about it before everybody jumped on. I'll start. So I think there's some guys at the top that coming into this year. Well, I'll say this. Andrew Klopinski won the award last year, but all three of us talked about this, I remember, last year. There's two guys who were juniors last year who are seniors now that, in my opinion, were right behind Andrew Klopinski for that Player of the Year award. And that's Evan Vincent at Turlings and Miller Sheets at Sterlington. So, I mean, Vincent, gosh, what more can you say? Like, I mean, he won 10 games last year. I think he was 10-0 with 1 save, pitched to a 1-something ERA. He also hits for Turlings. He was hitting cleanup for him last week when I saw him scrimmage against Barb. So he's got the potential to put up 2-way numbers this year. But Evan was just, I'll say this, and y'all saw the video, everybody did. He was just disgusting last week against Barb. So, like, this clip, this is against Miles Ledoux, by the way, who I think everybody would agree, like, bat to ball, really good hitter in the state. And, like, that's the sequence he went on Miles, right? Like, heater away, strike, heater away, just off for a ball, slider got him to buckle, and then goes up and in for the strikeout. Like, just flawless. And he was, look, the velo bumped up, and it was colder that day. He was 87-90. To me, it's like Evan and Miller got to be at the top. Miller's year last year, Jesus Christ. I mean, he hit, 435 with like 4 homers and 23 doubles and drove in over 50 and scored over 50 runs. I mean, like, it's absurd. Like, I almost think to myself, like, if Clapp wouldn't have been there last year, like, easily could have given it to Miller, easily could have given it to Evan. And there's some other really good names, but I think those two are probably right there at the top. Davis, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you on those two, and I'm kind of the top two I'm looking at. Kind of a combination of both is Don Pellegrin from Holy Cross and Miller Sheets from Sterlington as well. not like both of them had monster years last year. You said Miller hit 435. I think Dom hit a little bit over 460, but it's not necessarily all the numbers that these guys put up because we know they're going to have great production. It's for me, it's the stellar defense that they both play at a premium position of shortstop. Like these guys take pride in their defense. And at shortstop being the position that it is, you need that in high school. Such a reliable defender for both of these guys. And then honestly, just the leaders that they are. I'm like, these guys are the backbone of both of their teams. These teams will go as they go. And both of their teams had very successful years last year. Holy Cross had a good run, but fell short in the semis. And then Sterlington got back on top last year. So both of those guys, great players, guys that carry themselves well on and off the field. I'm like they're the leaders of their teams and should have monster years again this year.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I agree with everything. You're right. Those two, like they are there's no mistaking it. They are the heartbeat of their teams. So Leary, what do you got?
One of the guys that I have that I think if he wins it this year, he'll probably win it next year is Koa Romero, left-handed hitter who just has some of the best juice in the state, but he's also has a really good plate presence. Didn't have the best outing at future games, but it was the feeling of like he walks in the box and like this kid's just going to absolutely destroy a baseball. And he put up ridiculous numbers last year for a sophomore. I mean, he hit 484, 8 pumps, 11 doubles, 31 RBIs. It's going to be interesting because he's healthy now, so we're going to see him on the mound more than we did last year. And it's more electric than it was at the future games. Again, he was still 88, 90 at future games. Now he's 90, 95. So, I mean, it's different. The body just runs better than it looks. But it's a hit tool all the way. But again, it's going to be how do you get him some protection? Is Garisco going to hit before him? Is Garisco going to hit after him? I think that's going to be interesting of what his numbers look at the end of the year because we know the threat that the bat has. It's just, are you going to let him beat you with one run for a solo, or are you going to let him beat you with 4 runs in one swing? But then it kind of goes to my other interesting watch for player of the year with Hudson Browning. He's like Koa. I mean, they've got some of the best juice in the state, but he also can hit. And he's like Clapp. He plays a premier position behind the plate. I think the difference for Hudson, it's going to be he's going to put up the numbers like Davis said with all of these really good players we're talking about. But I think what's going to have to separate him in the school he's at, again, he's playing 5A like Koa, is if they make the playoffs, I think it's solely based around the presence he brings to their lineup because you're going to be scared to pitch against him. So you're relying on the rest of the lineup to beat you. And I think that's going to be the presence that he's able to bring to that team. But again, I mean, there's a lot of these really good players that we've been putting out the past week or so. So it's going to be just fun to be able to watch and see all their growths. But I think this year might be just a little bit more different than we're used to seeing.
Yeah. You're right. Koa and Huddy, those are 2 good ones. And look, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention there's another kid, and we put him out. I think something out on him yesterday. Is Cole Snell at Benton. Like he's another guy. I was looking back at his numbers last year. Jesus Christ, he's another guy. Like hit, I don't know. He had like over 20 extra base hits. I don't know, 20 stolen bases or close to it, and kind of like Miller did, drove in over 50 and scored another 50. Like he kind of quietly had a monster junior year last year up there at Benton. And he'll be their guy that makes that offense go. Next year. So anyway,
very good athlete.
Yes, and a very good athlete.
He's going to score a lot of runs, steal bases, and it'll throw in some juice there with those extra base hits too.
Right. And look, like there's other guys that we're not, and this will kind of lead into the next thing, right? We just this past week put out our preseason All-State team. I mean, there's a host of other guys that could 1,000%, win this award. So, like, shifted into our preseason All-State team that we put out. You can see here the three catchers. We already talked about Hudson Browning. You got Thomas Laycomp from Vanderbilt Catholic, Miles Collins, a former future gamer at Opelousas Catholic. Then on the infield, you got Sheets, Pellegrin, Will Power, Miles Ledoux, Denton Hester from up at Shreve. And then in the outfield, Braylon Snell, Coy Prepara from Bruley, Jackson Lee, Clayton Fontenot, who's coming back healthy from injury at Parkview. And then on the mound, Evan Vincent, Braden Cupid, Lawton Littleton at Barb, Logan Sorrell, Grant Sundstrom, Alex Richardson, Hayes Holton, Mills Richardson. And then the two-way guys, J.D. Alexander, Koa, Andrew Sharp, Cade Luker, Devin Downs, Aubrey St. Angelo, and Owen Galley from Sam Houston. So, I just, I know I ran through that quick, but you can see, like, there's a ton of names right there that could definitely be in the Player of the Year conversation. I mean, Braden Cupid's won, 20 games over the course of his high school career so far with, like, over 230 strikeouts. I mean, who's to say he doesn't go 13, 14-0 this year and, leads West Monroe to, like, a really big year and they get back to the state tournament. You got Alex Richardson at Bell Chase, who we all saw recently. He's going to obviously do his thing on the mound for him, but he's also going to play shortstop and hit when he doesn't pitch. So he's going to put up two-way numbers. You got J.D. Alexander at Barb. He's back on the mound. He's going to put up two-way numbers this year. So, there's a lot of interesting guys in it. Like, I think we would all agree you probably got, Sheets, Evan, and Pellegrin and Koa at the top. But there's a lot of other guys that could, that could certainly win it. So, look, I'll start with you, Dave. Outside of Evan Vincent, Miller Sheets, Don Pellegrin, and Koa Romero, take those four out of it. Who is your, I don't even know if you call it a dark horse or a sleeper because it's not, but outside of those four guys, who's a guy that you could totally see like coming out and winning Player of the Year?
Yeah, for me, just the talent and two-way ability is Cade Luker from Cedar Creek. Goes to a small school, but I'm like, he will be able to put up numbers. And again, he's the leader of that team, and he's their guy, So he's gonna pitch well on the mound. We saw what he did this past year at Future Games. Was up to 92, committed to LSU, and he can hit as well. He batted well.
Yeah.
So he's got some tools and he's electric on the mound. So he's going to put up some numbers too as a 27 grad.
I agree, Davis. I agree with you. And I think going into the Future Games, like we all knew about him. We all knew about him on the mound. I don't know if I want to say surprised me because hell, when I saw him last spring in that playoff game against, I think it was St. Edmund Catholic, like his first at bat, he hit a home run. But like he handled the bat pretty well at the Future Games, and I think he stole 2 or 3 bases. Right, like he's a good athlete.
He is a good athlete. Yeah,
that's a good pick.
That was kind of our first time really getting to see him play multiple times.
Yes.
And I thought he performed great. Yeah,
that's a good pick. All right, Leary, who you got? I think I have a feel. Well, you already talked about. So I want to say you can't include Hudson Browning
because I already.
Yeah. All right. So who else?
I'll stay in the Baton Rouge area since y'all two are all over. This one, he's really, really good. And it's a left-handed hitter. He hit 525 with 4 homers, 32 RBIs, and 29 stolen bases. Was MVP of his district. It's Clayton Fontenot.
God, good pick.
And for a sophomore to be able to put those numbers up, that's pretty ridiculous. He's going to be the heartbeat and the soul, just like he was last year, and then he's going to be this year, and he's going to be next year for that team. I think the difference is this year it's probably going to be the last year he's going to have protection behind himself with Henry Beckers, who's going to be a big threat for that lineup this year. But this kid this year and next year, I think, what a lot of people don't realize is he was hurt the past summer. So he didn't really get a play. But he's had all fall. And I just think the ceiling is it's tremendous. He's a center fielder right now. He's going to be a center fielder at the next level. Who knows? He might have some fun, and he might go get a couple innings for his team this year if they need it on the mound, just because it's a lefty arm.
Yep.
Low to mid-80s. It's got some sing. But at the end of the day, I think this is one of the premier bats in this class. And I think once the size fills out, it's going to be very interesting and special to see where he goes at the next level. But I would say Clayton Fontenot for sure.
That's a good pick. And I was going to ask, like, Clayton probably has, on top of the offense this year, he's probably going to have the opportunity to have some pitching numbers as well, right?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't go crazy. I'm not going to assume 25 to 30 innings. I think if it is, might not be the best year for his team, but I could see him throwing 20 innings. Here and there, give some guys some rest. But yeah, it's going to be a special bat we see throughout the next couple of years.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. Like we said, there's some guys outside of the, preeminent top 3 or top 4 that definitely have a shot at making some noise this year. So it's going to be fun to follow. So moving on to the last thing before we, this will wrap us up. Week 1, right? It is here, and I think we were all talking about it there. And maybe it's like this every year, and I just haven't really realized it, but there's some really, really good week 1 matchups that we're going to get to see, and I'm super duper excited about it. On opening night, you've got Houghton against Ash at Northwestern State. And then on opening night, you have also got Rummel at Hanville. I'm assuming that'll probably be Owen Nugent against Koa Romero. You got Live Oak against John Curtis on opening night at UNO. That'll be an interesting matchup. Dutchtown U High on opening night. That's always a good game. And then as the week moves on, Tuesday you've got Benton against Turlings Catholic at Northwestern State. That's like a massive. That's 2 top 10 teams right off the bat. And then on Wednesday, I believe it is, you've got Jesuit at Mandeville. That's another good one. And then we move to Thursday, and you've got West Monroe coming back down to Catholic, another top 10 matchup, right? And then on that same Thursday, you've got Barb taking on the Bennett School from Texas, which for those listening, you're probably wondering, like, what is the Bennett School? Well, this is their first year in existence, and it's essentially an academy. And what they've done is they've gotten like the best players out of the Houston, Texas area to come together. And they're now playing at the Bennett School. So they'll play Barb on Thursday. And then on Friday, the next day, it'll be Sam Houston against the Bennett School. So, like, what a treat, right? Opening week, you get a top 5 team from Texas against, two of the top 3 or 4 teams in the state of Louisiana right off the bat. So there's a lot to unpack here. I'll start it off with this. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm really interested. So West Monroe Catholic, this is year 3 of this 3-game series to start off the year. And it is wild to say that the Catholic High Bears are 6-0 against the West Monroe Rebels, right? And I mean, it's like this is not a shot at West Monroe. It's not. But, gosh, man, like, is there a shot that, like, Catholic could go 3-0 this year? I mean, I'd say West Monroe's got to win one of them this year. Like, you know, and I know they've been good games for the most part over the last 2 years. So, I don't know, man. That's one that I'm really interested to see what happens. Leary, you'll be there. You're going to get a treat on that Thursday night with Mills Richardson against Braden Cupid. You know, that one, the Turlings Benton game, really interested in that one. See how those two teams do. And then I'm interested to see Barb and Sam Houston, the Lake Charles area teams against the Bennett School. So, Leary, what are your thoughts on week 1?
I think you hit it on the head. For me, it's the Catholic and West Monroe. Do I think they're going to go 9-0 in 3 years against them? I mean, it's high school baseball. We're talking about 15 to 18-year-olds and just baseball itself. Like, I have just a hard time. The first year when I was there, seeing them go 3, and I was like, all right, there's just no way they're going to do it again. Then they went 3-0 again. I don't want to say they can, and I don't want to say they can't. It's just, that's tough. I think obviously game 1, you're going to have Mills, you're going to have Cupid going at it. I think that's just a coin toss.
Yeah.
Whoever wins. I think it's going to be a pitcher's duel. The next 2 games, I think, is going to be more of a dissection and really seeing where these 2 programs are going to be moving forward, with some younger guys throwing that, it sounds like, from both sides. But I also think it's kind of a little different for both programs, just a little insight of they both have talent, but they also both are going to have more – they're going to have more or less experience than we're used to. Like, that's what I think is going to be interesting. Again, it's just week 1. It doesn't really matter what happens. It's more about what happens who's playing the last game of the year, who made the last out of the year. But I think it's going to kind of just set a tone to see where those 2 teams are going to be able to progress throughout the year. Hopefully the weather's a little bit warmer than what we've been having the past couple of weeks. But again, you got to go out there. You got to go play the game. They're going to be on a natural surface. I think you do have to take some of that into it where it's not turf. Depends what happens with the wind and how the ball's flying. But I think game 1, I think you can't put too much into it for both teams. It's 2 really good arms.
Right.
I don't expect to have much offense. I think it's going to be the next 2 games. Who really shuts down and who really takes a turn just to get it off to a good start for the season. And then I think for me, the other game that I'm really interested in is going to be the Dutchtown U High. More so for U High because I think this year and next year they should be fine. They should do really well. For me on Dutchtown, I think it's going to be more of seeing what the future is going to be looking like for them. I don't think it's going to be the same Dutchtown we're used to, especially because there's a new school in town that's made an impact and where some of these kids are all now going to school. With Prairieville, that's going into year 2 of being a new startup school. So with all that being said, I think it's going to be more throughout this year. We're just going to see a lot of new faces for a lot of programs. And I think that's what's going to be interesting, the midway point and the end of the season of just seeing the growth of not just the kids, but also the programs itself and what we're going to expect for the next couple of years.
Look, I'll stop. That's a really good point. I feel like looking at a lot of these teams, you either have one of two things or maybe a combination of both, right? Like you've got, juniors or seniors where like this is like their first time really playing varsity, right? Or you've got teams that are just, maybe heavy in the, that 28, the sophomore class, right? And they're just young, but whether it's one or the other or a combination of the both, there's like inexperience and unknown. And I think that's like across the board to some degree, which makes things interesting. I'll say this, like even seeing Barb in Turlings this week, right? Like Turlings' first 3 or 4 hitters with like Caden Chavis, Brennan Storms, Will Power, and Evan Vincent. Yeah, those guys have been around. They've all started the last couple of years. But then the rest of their lineup is like pretty much a bunch of, new faces. But
not to interrupt, going off of that, like there's still a lot of really good, like just let's talk about like seniors. Like there's a lot of really good seniors who, if they're at a different school, they're probably playing the past sophomore and junior year. But now that they're getting their chance, like people in the baseball world, like them because you see them through the summer, they come to events, so on and so forth. But like we don't know what they can do for a whole year because they haven't had a whole high school season to play. Like they might have been on varsity here, JV here, like going back and forth. But like for these kids to get their first chance, I think that's for me like what's kind of more cool and more like exciting, I guess is the word to use, because like we've known these kids, we've seen them, but like it's exciting because they get their first chance. They get that experience and they get those memories, whether again they go play at the next level or they don't. That's what's really for me, I think, is going to be cool and just different aspect and different lens to be able to watch these teams grow and this season progress. I don't know, it's just different in that realm. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Davis, what do you think? Week 1.
Yeah, I think y'all both are spot on. Obviously, Catholic hosting West Monroe is the big showdown of week 1, as it has been the last few years. But I'm mainly looking at next Tuesday at Northwestern State with Turlings and Turlings Catholic playing Benton. Neutral site game, and obviously both top 10 teams in the preseason poll. And look, Benton was right there. They had a great run last year. Fell short in the semis to Live Oak, but and then Turlings is going for the three-peat. So Benton returns the top 3 guys in their order with Case Jordan, Millen, and Cole Snell. Those guys are table setters there. And then on the other side, when you're talking about the best pitching staff in the state, just very, very deep. With Vincent, Isaac Boudreaux, and Lincoln Guillory. Don't know exactly which one's going to throw that day, but it really doesn't matter because it's going to be a great matchup for Benton just to get the season started. So, and then you also got to talk about Chavis leading off. I'm like, he is the ultimate table setter, just old school leadoff hitter. That kid is going to find a way to get on base. And then obviously you have Will Power coming back. So great matchup all the way around that really looking forward to seeing. And then also I'm looking at Monday night also at Northwestern State, Ash playing Houghton. And really am interested in that. I think we all are, just from to see how Jack Lee is the biggest story from this past summer. Mm-hmm. And so just I'm like, we haven't really seen him since Future Games in Atlanta in late July. So looking forward to seeing how he is, and just was really impressed with him last year, how he just came onto the scene and really showed out and took advantage. So those are the 2 games I'm looking at, both early in the week.
I agree with you. I think we would all agree. If if Jack Lee is anything like he was at the end of July against Oklahoma in that third game, good luck, Houghton. I mean, Jesus Christ, like that was
it was very
ridiculous.
just impressive. Came out of nowhere.
Yes,
it was awesome to see.
Ridiculous. 90-92 breaking ball first strike. But like he really didn't need the breaking ball. Like it's just here's my heater. You can't hit it. I mean,
inning was 10 pitches.
Yeah, I know. Like it was
the efficiency was just unreal.
Yeah, it was. Look, I'll tell a funny story. So y'all were like in the dugout or whatever. I was behind home plate. I've never told this story before, but I won't use the name. But Jack Lee throws that first inning, and I think he, I don't know, punched out 2, and got a weak pop out or whatever, and it's 90-92. And one of the college coaches sitting next to me after he got the last out of the inning, and he's walking off the mound. One of the college coaches sitting next to me just starts going da 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 da, playing the LSU fight song or whatever it's called, basically insinuating like, yeah, he's going to be an LSU Tiger, I guess. So, yeah, I agree, Davis. I think we're all looking forward to seeing what old Jack Lee looks like. And then look, Houghton, I mean, like, you know, they're always usually one of the better teams out of North Louisiana, you know, them and Ruston, Shreve, Sterlington, West Monroe. So it'll be good to see what they got this year. So a lot of good stuff in week 1. We went over a lot. We'll let everybody get back to the Super Bowl. Appreciate everybody jumping on. And we are looking forward to another exciting season. Make sure you head over to our YouTube page, like and subscribe, and we'll see everybody at the ballpark.